Hey, Roberto Monaco here with Influenceology and the Car Speaking Company. And today I have my brother, my friend, a leader that I admire, my friend, Dr. Paul Reed. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, brother. How are you this morning on the East Coast?
I'm doing amazing. Thanks for doing the interview. I know it's early on West Coast. We're going to have a great time today. And we're going to talk about goal setting. But before, I want to give you, for those who don't know, Dr. Paul Reed.
Goodness gracious, don't do that. No,
no, I'm gonna do that. Dr. Paul Reed is well, actually, before the introduction, let me tell you about something that I admire about you. One of my highest values is congruency. So for me, being congruent with your whatever you say, you live that message, for me is up there on the list of priorities. And something that I admire about you, brother, because you walk your talk from business, from working out, from the relationship you have with your family, your kids. You are extremely congruent, and then always attract me to you and to your work. And that's why I'm so excited to do an interview with you, because there's so many, and you did a great post the other day talking about how many quote unquote coaches out there. They show one thing, turn around, they live a life that is different. Yeah. And I love how congruent you are, brother.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. No, thank you.
So now I'm going to build you up in a different way here. Dr. Paul Reed, opening scale 8 businesses, generating annual revenue of over $5 million, wrote a books. The guy is a machine. If you follow him on Instagram, you see he used to be an athlete. He's still an athlete in the way I see it.
Well, old athlete.
Been an amazing marriage for 29 years, and he's financial free, and he hit the mark at 49. So I'm super excited to share with our communities here on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Thank you.
And by the way, guys, for those who are watching, below here, there's a link. Dr. Paul is putting an event, which is amazing. It's a goal setting workshop.
Got to do it.
Which I took last year. It's right here. Which I'm going to take again. Which is amazing.
That guy.
It's a super powerful process. So it's not this Saturday, the following Saturday. It's amazing. We're going to talk about that today. But let's do. I have a couple of questions for you here. One of the things that I use a website called Answer the Public, who basically crawl the internet and figure out what people are searching. And this morning, I'm saying, well, I'm going to talk about goal setting. So one of the questions that pop up was, how goal setting leads success? So I'm going to ask the expert here, what's your take on it?
Man, I honestly think goal setting, first, right? Everything happens twice in this world. Everything happens as a thought, right? So we think something. So the computer that we're on now, the desk that you're standing at, the chair that I'm sitting on was first a thought in somebody's mind before it became reality. And so get goal setting does that for us. It helps us think about the things that we want into life or want to bring into our lives or accomplish in our lives. And then we start to take action on those things naturally because we've thought about them, put them down on paper, and then it started to take action towards. So I think goal setting helps us start to be creative and start to think about the things that we want, which is naturally going to law of attraction, right? It's going to start to attract those things into us. And so I think that's the most important thing about goal setting. It's getting you to think futuristic, like think outside of today. Let's think tomorrow. Let's think next week. Let's think next year. Let's think 20 years where we want to be. And then we can start to craft the mechanism to get us there. But yes, so I think goal setting is important because it gets us thinking about what we want.
And I love that doing your workshop, which is a 4-hour just on this subject. You had us write down goals in many different areas of life. And for you as a business owner, as a fit person, do you have goals for all your areas every year?
Every year I reestablish, right? Because we'll either fall a little bit short or we'll hit them, but we don't want to stay in the same spot. So I'll always advance my goals just to keep myself pushing and moving and driving towards trying to be your best self, right? Because if we're not chasing ourselves and trying to be the best version of ourselves, we're not helping ourselves, we're not helping our families, we're not helping God, we're not helping our communities. And so so I'll always reset them, always drive to the next thing.
So another question that I noticed that people ask on the internet is, does goal setting motivate an individual? Like, now we know the people who do goal setting and follow through and have a system like you teach to follow through the whole year helps. But do you think that people who are quote unquote not motivated, can goal setting or the process of going through inspire people to start taking action?
I think it will encourage them if they don't lose sight of it, right? I think it'll naturally encourage them to see the possibility, right? It's the possibility living. Like, what if, right? Last year's ChiroFest, the theme was what if, like, so what if I could actually accomplish that? And I think that is motivating in itself to make somebody want to, like, that's a possibility. What if I actually accomplished that? What would my life look like if I did accomplish those things that I'm pushing to achieve? And I unfortunately, I think where people lose sight is they it's get the story of getting lost in the woods, right? We can't see through the woods. And so they just get frustrated in the muddle of the day in and the day out. And they might be one step, they might be 1 week, they might be 1 month away from accomplishing that. And sometimes people fall short and give up instead of sticking to the process, knowing that, hey, even if I'm a step away, I just gotta, it's who I'm becoming in the process of chasing that dream that's as important as the dream.
I love it. How do you keep the energy? Because when you go through a 4-hour process, by the time you're done, you feel like Superman, like Wonder Woman, man, I'm gonna just watch me. I'm gonna, achieve my goals. How do you personally keep the energy throughout, the first week and the first month and the 6 months into it? How do you keep the energy?
Man, I think it goes right back to just seeing yourself in that desired state of being. Like, what is my life going to look like when I accomplish that? And what was it going to, when I had set the goal of being financial free before I was 50, like, I didn't know what that'd feel like, right? Until that time. And then, and that was like a 27-year process of, hammering down debt and working towards it. And we don't live in a small house, or we've had several big, so it's like, it's just charging forward and knowing that, the someday that's going to happen. And then it's so rewarding and fulfilling to accomplish it. So I think when you can visualize and see and feel what it's going to be like, it's motivational itself to drive you to want to keep going.
So the one question that I found interesting, also my research as you're prepping for this, was this: does goal setting help with depression? A lot of people, the COVID cause amplify mental health issues. Yeah. And I know not only you're a very successful business owner, but you're also a doctor. Do you feel like having a goal setting system can help with the mental health issues in general and depression?
Man, I think it gives us purpose, right? And when we have purpose, we automatically move out of that depressive, flat, unmotivated, uninspired, lost state. And so I think having goals gives you purpose to get up every day and have something to step towards, instead of floundering, right, or being stagnant and just kind of hanging out waiting for life to happen to you. We need to create the life. And so I think that in itself, giving you something to look forward to, is going to pull somebody out of that depressive state to want to step into their optimal state of themselves.
Awesome. By the way, guys, for those who are listening to us, there's a link below here. Dr. Paul is doing this amazing class coming up. I'm going to be participating. It's not this Saturday, next Saturday. Super affordable. The value is crazy. You're going to get a huge manual. This
60 pages.
A huge is amazing.
Pages,
so I highly encourage you guys to learn more about it. So what do you think stops people from setting and following through their goals, in your perspective?
I think it's fear of failure. I think personally, I've personally experienced that in some situations where there's something that was so big, like I just almost didn't want to step into action because I felt like it was unattainable. And so I think, and then I didn't want to let myself down, because when we don't accomplish something, there's a bunch of emotions that goes through with that. And so I think people won't set a goal, or won't try to step out of a place that they're currently in to a new place out of fear, and fear of failure, fear of loss. And some fear of success, right? Because when there's success, there's responsibility. And so when you hit those goals and become somebody different, there's a whole new set of responsibilities that comes with being that new, different, better version of yourself. And so I think fear is probably the biggest factor that people need to overconquer, and know that, they need to have faith over fear, right? I teach people, have faith over fear, step towards your desired state, have faith that you are great enough, and you're gonna accomplish that thing. So I think fear is probably the one that stops things.
What has been looking back in your career, in your life, what has been one of your moments of like setting a goal, achieving, fighting through and achieving, that you look back like, okay, man, you always go back to it when you're setting new goals and you're doubting yourself. If you doubt yourself, you'd be like, what is an example that you'd have done personally? Not trying to brag, but just kind of like that that you say, you know what, I set that goal, I work hard, I fail, but then in the end I achieve it? What was an example of that?
Yeah, I honestly think, you know, one of the biggest, I mean, there's lots and lots of them, brother. But one of the biggest ones, a big feat for people, and most people don't accomplish it, I think, is being debt free, paying off. You know, right now I'm down at our vacation house, which we own outright. We don't, other than the, you know, the bills that come, we're responsible of owning a property, in our personal home. And so I think, I mean, that's something that it's for most people, it's usually close to the end of their life, right? And accomplishing that at 49, you know, before I was 50 years old, I think is one of the bigger ones that I've accomplished. Obviously, there's lots around my faith and my kids and whatnot in sports, but I think that in business, but I think that, you know, is an outlier for most folks. And so I'd have to say that was probably my biggest, what I feel is my biggest accomplishment. So
that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about why should you attend? I'm attending anyway, but why should I attend your class?
You know, well, honestly, brother, less than 3% of people, less than 3% put pen to paper and craft where they want to go. And it said that of those 3%, you're 49 or 42 or 49% more likely to accomplish the things that you put pen to paper. And so it's really, you know, I'm going to teach some new principles, but a lot of it is just making the time, crafting the time, to have somebody walk you through the process. And I don't want to say hold your hand, but really helping you it's more of just making you make the time. Like you're carving out that time, those 4 or 5 hours, you're sitting down, you're focused on that and really thinking about where you want to go. And that's going to be, you know, again, less than 3% of people do that. And just doing that process, even if you just did that alone, right? Because again, you're thinking about it, you're going to start to naturally attract those things in your life. You're going to start to think better. You're going to start to eat better. You're going to start to move better because you've taken the time to accomplish those things. So I think that's the biggest thing about these events. It's helping somebody, forcing somebody to make the time to sit down and do the thoughts. So we all get busy, right? We have families, we have businesses.
Sure, no, I agree. That's why I'm doing it. Like, I love it. The last time I already told my wife, look, I'm blocking the time. I'm doing it. That's what I'm doing. Because otherwise, I'm assuming that most people who are successful or want to elevate the level of success, they would agree with you that goal setting is important, lead success. But there's like, okay, so what is the methodology? I will take the time to do it. So I highly, highly encourage you guys to join. There's a link below here. It's going to be awesome. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. Any closing thoughts, ideas about goal setting, success?
Man, the world depends on everybody that's here, everybody that's listening. It's our responsibility to take care of ourselves, be the best versions of ourselves each and every day to make the biggest dent in this planet before we leave. And so this is one of the steps in moving you towards doing that. So
I love it. One more question. Forgot to ask this question.
No, brother.
What's the story behind doing goal setting workshop? When did you come up with this idea?
You know, honestly, it's something that I have always done. Like I've even, you know, I think I look back to my like early childhood when I was wrestling. Our coach would sit us down in a wrestling room. We'd visualize, we'd see the goals that we wanted to accomplish. Then I got to college, D1 athlete. We always set goals. You know, I set a goal of, you know, I wanted to be a chiropractor when I was 13. So at that time I said, I'm going to be a chiropractor. I'm doing my sports career. So I've always it's just been a natural God-given ability, probably from experiences from the leaders that were in my life at that time. But it's just something I've incorporated to literally everything I've done in my life, from marriage to kids to business to faith. Like it's just part of my DNA. So, and I want to share that with other people.
I love it. I love it. Well, join us for the Unstoppable Goal Setting Workshop. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. There's a link below here. Dr. Paul, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, brother. Have an awesome day.
Bye-bye.